Google Workspace Studio is getting an update that will allow you to automatically add a source to Gemini Notebook. So previously, what you would have to do is anytime you wanted to have a source, from your Google Drive to Gemini Notebook, you would just have to manually add it. Now, what this will let you do is you can go into your Google Drive, you can, like the example in here has, you can create a folder, and then anytime you add something to that folder in your Google Drive, it will automatically put that as a source into Gemini Notebook. If you're not familiar with Workspace Studio, it's basically Google's version of Zapier, where you set a trigger and then that could be like every day at this time. That could be whenever you do a certain action, you can manually trigger it, but something that actually starts the flow. And then after the trigger happens, there are a certain amount of actions. They actually call it a starter in actions, but the same idea. There's a triggering thing, and then there are actions that take place after. It's an automation. It's more deterministic, but it also allows you to wrap in Gemini. So it's deterministic and non-deterministic at the same time. It kind of lets you, again, run Zapier type workflows within Google stuff. Once you have the feature, it says here for admins, it will be available by default. You won't have to do anything. End users, as long as your admins haven't blocked it or turned it off for you, it will be there for you. The rollout pace, again, up to 15 business days starting August 6th. And then here's the availability, just the different accounts where you would need one of these accounts to get this feature. I wanted to demonstrate how to actually do this, but we actually haven't gotten the feature yet. I can show you how you would do it, assuming you have the feature already. So I'll switch over to Workspace Studio, and this is studio.workspace.google.com. And then once you're here, you can click on the plus, which will start a new flow. And again, the starter or trigger and then actions. You just have to set those two things, and you can have one action or multiple actions. But just taking the example of having a folder in your Google Drive, and then every time you add something to that folder, it creates a source in a Gemini Notebook. You would go under starter and you click on choose starter, and in this case you would go down to right here, when an item is added to a folder. Again, you have other options in here, you can read through them, but for this example, we'll do when an item is added to a folder, you're going to want to select your folder in Drive. Oh, I'm not sure why it's not syncing right now, but basically you would come into Workspace Studio, you would start a new flow, and then you would select when an item is added to a folder in Drive, and then you would click on folder here, or excuse me, Drive folder here, and then select the folder that you want in your Drive. Mine isn't syncing right now. I'm not sure why, but I'll check back later and see if that worked. But assuming that yours does work, then you would go down to actions and you would go over to the right here, and there will, once you have the feature pushed to you, you will have an option here to add that to your Gemini Notebook. Switching back over here, add a source to Gemini Notebook. And then you would have these options over here. You can select which notebook you want and then select your source type. And that's really it. I mean, you can add extra steps if you want, but you could just keep it that simple where it's just anytime you add an item to a folder, add a source to a Gemini Notebook. That's really the whole thing. You can do a test run. Once you're good with it, you turn it on. And that's really it. It's just a lot of people have had issues with just having to manually put everything in Gemini Notebook, and this just makes one more thing just seamless and something you don't really have to think about. Quick recap, Google Workspace Studio is adding a new feature to automatically add sources to Gemini Notebook. So you can add that to existing flows that you have, or you can spin up a new flow. And the example I have here is that if you have a Google Drive folder and you can set it up so that anytime you add an item to that folder, you would add that as a source to Gemini Notebook. This will be rolled out to everyone with one of these plans. It will be rolled out starting August 6th up to 15 days. And the admins, you should not have to do anything. End users, if you don't have the feature, check with your admins, and that's really it. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.